Our new friends at Armour Detail Supply were kind enough to provide me with their quartz ceramic coating, which we're going to be testing today. Now, this product claims to provide 3 years of protection. It's supposed to be user-friendly. It's meant to be highly glossy with a pretty finish, and they claim it'll have really great hydrophobics and slickness. We're going to test all of that today and find out just how good this product is as we put it through my full battery of tests. As always, we start things off by applying our product, and let's take a look inside of our kit and see what we got. It's definitely a nice little presentation. You get a card showing you the application steps, very generously sized pad here, and of course, the product itself. Before starting every test, I polish this hood with Meguiar's 205, and then I properly decon it with isopropyl alcohol and an APC. Now, the instructions are real simple. Of course, we have to shake the product up. Then we're gonna apply a bunch of drops to the applicator here, and you do need a lot given the size of this applicator, otherwise you're gonna have a pretty dry start. As always, you want to spread the product as evenly as you can and make sure you overlap and provide good coverage. And based on the instructions, the product should flash in as little as 1 to 5 minutes. The conditions in here are pretty normal. It's around 70 degrees and 50% humidity. Scoring for application testing is subjective. I rank it between a 10 and a negative 10, where a positive 10 would be a very easy to use product, basically as simple as a coating can get. And then a negative 10 would be something requiring very specialized skills or tools. And then between that is sort of everything else. It is a little tacky, almost like glue as I'm spreading it around. It feels like quite a thick product. All right, we're gonna let it set up, and we're at about 3.5 minutes. I see beads pretty much everywhere. I think we're ready to start picking this up. I don't know if we wanna take it to the full 5, but you'll see just these like little beads of sweat. All these streaks here, they're actually just rows of beads. It's kind of cool looking. And the product is definitely a bit tacky, but wow, it's getting really slick under the product here. I would say this is a challenging product to wipe up. I've been trying a lot of very easy to use coatings lately, so I'm a little spoiled. This one's not that easy to use. I don't suspect that waiting a longer time would make it easier to pick up. It was getting harder and harder to pick up. So ultimately, I think I have to give this product a 0. Which is not saying that it's a bad or very hard product to use. It just means that I don't consider it beginner friendly. We'll be using my optical contact angle meter to figure out if the Armour Quartz Coating is hydrophobic and just how hydrophobic it is. Now, in this test, all we're really doing is placing 3 microliter droplets of deionized water on top of this pre-manufactured test panel that has already been treated with the coating and properly cured. And then computer software figures out the contact angles, and we take an average. And here are some screenshots from the software I used to calculate contact angles. Overall, this Armour Quartz Coating came in at 97.1 degrees of contact angle on average. We definitely see some nice beading, and I'll show you the scoring on your screen now. This product did pretty well. It's not amazingly hydrophobic, but it is definitely truly hydrophobic, which means on average it's producing more than 90 degrees of contact angle. So good job there for Armour Detail Supply. If you've been enjoying the videos so far, make sure to check out the links down below in the description. Those are the products, tools, and equipment that I use to make these videos. If you want to support the channel, clicking through and buying anything at all at those websites generates a small commission from me at no added cost to you. Furthermore, there's also a link to my website where you can find prior test results and see how today's product compares. And of course, if you are liking the video, make sure you hit that subscribe button, ring the bell so you get notifications. That way you know when more of these come out. Let's get back to our testing. Now that we've given the Armour Quartz Coating time to cure, let's take a look at the visuals and decide whether or not it's a pretty product. I try to capture as much of it as I can on camera, but obviously it can be hard to see it without being here for yourself. I do score this between a 10 and a negative 10, where a 10 represents some of the prettiest products out there. A negative 10 would be something that really hurt the look of the finished paint. As you can see, I've placed a blue marker on the panel, and the left edge of the marker is now touching the treated area. Here's another angle where the right side of the marker is touching the treated area. Overall, I gotta say, this may be one of the prettiest products on red that I've seen yet. This is just insanely pretty on red. We saw the C6 Hydrolite in a recent video that was just insane on black and very, very good on red. This is like insane on red. I can't believe how deep and rich that looks. And this is not like as bright red a paint as like the Audi or the Corvette behind here. This is a more muted color. This is, I think, off of Ford Focus. or Ford Fusion actually, I think. And it's just not as poppy of a color, but man, that coating is really making it pop. To me, it actually makes it look more like the Audi back there. It's just such a nice richness to it. We're absolutely giving this thing 10 points. And here is our black test panel. We've got our Armour Quartz Coating on this side, but we've got a different product we're testing for another video on the left, so ignore that for now. Obviously, I think it's very clear where that line is, where the quartz coating is. And I gotta say, it looks great on the black. Very, very nice, just not as stunning as on the red. You know, a lot of products can make black look better, and that is a fantastic looking black. 10 for this, absolutely 10 for the red, 10 on average, very beautiful product. Now it's time to find out just how slick the Armour Quartz Coating is, and Slickness does help reduce marring, swirls, and scratches whenever you're working on your car. And then to measure slickness, we'll be taking 5 gram force readings and averaging those, then working out the static coefficient of friction of the surface, and then scoring it against the table I'm showing you now on your screen. We've got 110 grams, 100 grams, 110 grams again, 100 grams. We'll do one final pull, 80 grams. We got 100 grams on average of force needed to get the block rolling. Now the block weighs 1,040 grams, so to work out our coefficient, we need to divide by 1,040, and we could see that this product gets a 0.10 rounded up static coefficient of friction. That is a very slick product, definitely impressive. Now let's use my gloss meter to figure out how much specular reflection we've gained or lost by applying the Armour Quartz Coating to our test panel here. In the past, I used to do this testing on my red test hood. However, it's an incredibly reflective surface. The black actually absorbs more light and allows us to see products that both increase and decrease the level of specular reflection. The super shiny surface I was using before primarily showed decreases. It's very hard to take something coming in at 94 gloss units, add something to it, and make it even shinier. This, because it's black, even though it's such a nice panel, it was professionally made for me by the same company that makes my optical contact angle meter panels. It comes in at 88 gloss units on average. So I put the meter on the control part of the panel, and we can see it comes in about 88.5. So now let's take 5 readings over here. And our first reading on the coated section is showing about the same 88.2, let's call it. Let's do another reading. And here we're seeing 86.3. It changed as I picked it up. Getting 86.8 over here. 88.7. Got 88.4. I saw it for a second. We'll give it that. So if we divide by 5, we're going to get 87.68 as the average. If you remember, 88 was our base. So overall, we see we lost 0.3 gloss units. We'll round that down a little bit. And that is going to be the score that the product gets. You can lose points in this test. Durability can be a very important factor when deciding if a product is right for you. In this test, we're going to use an objective and repeatable method to find out just how durable today's product is. Before starting the test, let's take a quick peek at the hydrophobicity of the product. You can clearly see the difference between the metal control strip and today's product. I'm going to lock in the test panel into the alcometer, and this machine is going to scrub terry-covered applicators in a predictable wear pattern at right about 30 RPM. It's going to dispense shampoo for lubrication. I'll show you the scoring on your screen, and it's done in buckets of 0, 10, 20, 50, 100, 300, and 1,000. We're going to see how a product works at each set, and if it's failed, we'll work out the scoring. I'm pre-soaking the applicators with our shampoo solution and squirting a bit onto the panel to prevent dry starting. I'm dialing in 10 washes into the machine, which will automatically prompt it to stop. There is a difference between longevity and durability, where longevity really represents the length of time a product works. In our testing, we are really looking at durability, which can be an indicator of longevity. In my experience, products that have good durability have good longevity. Certainly, products that fail at durability fail at longevity. 10 washes in, can the Armour Quartz Coating still work? I think it's looking great. We're bumping things up to 20 washes. 20 in, can the quartz coating still perform? Just like a champ. Let's step it up to 50 washes. 50 in, how about that quartz coating? Does it still work? Totally working, no impact yet. 100 washes, let's go. Let's take a look at our quartz coating and see if it's still working 100 in. Just like it's brand new. Let's go for 300 washes. A huge 300 washes in, let's look at the quartz coating. Oh, I think I'm seeing just the tiniest sliver of it starting to go there, but man, it's almost like it's new. So good. 1,000 washes, the ultimate test. Let's run it. You got a massive 1,000 washes on the clock. Let's take a look at the Armour Quartz Coating. I would say it's definitely a bit worse than the Control. We're gonna have to give it that 300-point score. Still very durable, very strong product. Now that we've put the quartz coating through the full gauntlet of tests, let's talk about the things that were great, things that could be improved, and whether or not this is a product you should consider. The biggest takeaway for me from this product is just how amazing it looks. This has gotta be the prettiest product on red paint that I've tried. It is seemingly much more difficult to be pretty on bright colors like that red. It's just something I've noticed as a pattern. A lot of products can make blacks look good, but reds can be really hard to make pop, and I gotta say this was fantastic. It also looked really great on the black, definitely up there, absolutely a 10, but the red just really blew me away. What an incredible result in terms of the visuals. They were not lying in their marketing material about that. Absolutely loved it. I also thought the slickness was pretty phenomenal with this product. It is a very, very slick coatings. Coatings are not always that slick, and we have seen some that are really not slick at all. So great job. I think they really nailed it with that. I also really like the durability results. Look, at 300 washes, this may not be a durability monster, but it is a very strong product that is difficult to remove from a panel once it's fully cured. And then as far as contact angle, at least within the parameters of my test, it wasn't extremely hydrophobic, but it did okay. It's a solid product in that regard. From talking to some of the manufacturers of these kind of products, there are a lot of different ways that those tests can be set up as far as parameters, and some generate higher contact angles than others. You know, perhaps maybe putting on very thick layers or using very tiny droplets may alter those results, but I'm working within my set of parameters, which I think is fairly real world realistic. And this may explain why a lot of times you do see people say, well, I don't see, 120-degree contact angles when I'm washing my car. And I think it's just a reality of the substrates we work with. Now, the one area that some users may find the product struggled in is the ease of application. I apply a lot of coatings. I think I applied 6 or 7 different coatings that I've played with just this week alone. So I have a lot of experience doing this. So the fact that even though I was following instructions and looking for those beads to form and then wiping things up and finding it to be tacky and kind of even a little bit difficult on spreading the coating around, it is a little glue-like as you do it, I think it is going to be a challenge for beginner users. I could really see somebody who's a complete beginner just winding up with a bunch of high spots. Ultimately, I think there probably is like a sweet spot where you got to just move fast and remove the product from the surface, like when it starts to sweat, but before it really gets sticky. And it's kind of described that way in the instructions. If you read through them, it shows you that, hey, if it's starting to smear, you didn't wait long enough. But if it's sticking to the surface and not coming up, you waited too long. And I was experiencing a little bit of both. I test so many other products. I know ones that make it real easy and it just doesn't make that much of a difference, minute here, minute there. I think if you are experienced, you're working indoors with good lighting, and you know how to make sure there are no high spots, this is still not a hard to use product. So ultimately, what do I think about this? Should you go out and get it? I would say, with the caveat that maybe it's not the most beginner-friendly product in the world, it is a really great coating. I like the attractive price point. It competes very well in that with a lot of other coatings that perform worse in many of these characteristics. I think if you like Armour Detail Supply, if this is the characteristics you're looking for as far as durability and the visuals that are stunning, this can be a great choice for your car. Now, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, make sure you leave me a comment down below in the description and tell me what you thought. And of course, if you do like these videos, make sure you're subscribing, make sure you're ringing the bell, and I hope to see you again in a future video.